All right, well, welcome to the September Historic District Board of Review meeting. We will start this off by doing a roll call. So, Brooke, you want to?
Josh Wilbur,
Here.
Carol Ann Rogers, Thomas Stark,
Here.
Owen McCall, Mike Pittman,
Here.
and Sandy Palmer.
Here.
All right, so next order of business is the minutes from August. Did everybody get a copy of the minutes? Have a chance to review them? Any changes, questions, issues?
I move we approve the minutes from the last meeting.
I'd second.
Brooke?
Sandy Palmer,
Approve.
Mike Pittman,
Approve.
Thomas Stark,
Approve.
Carol Ann Rogers,
Approve.
and Josh Wilbur.
I'll have to abstain, not being at the last meeting. All right, now we'll go into our review of applications. Just for those of you that are not familiar with this process, we'll say the application name or the address of the application. Someone representing that application will need to come up to the podium. You'll state your name and your address. At that point in time, Brooke will then go over a brief summary of your application. After she is finished, we'll give you a chance to add to anything that she has said. And then at that point, the board will then ask questions of whoever's representing the application up here. And then we'll give a chance for the audience to speak for or against the application or ask questions themselves. And then the board at that point in time will go into what we call a findings of fact, which basically is the board looking at the guidelines and determining whether or not the application fits the guidelines under the Historic District Board of Review or not. And then we will have a vote. And then if you are approved for it, you will get your certificate of appropriateness in the mail. And if not, then we can discuss what next steps are at that point in time. All right, so with that, we'll get to our first application, which is 214 East 3rd Street. So we have someone representing that application, or maybe not. So we'll table this one until the end, see if the applicant shows up. So we'll go to the second application, which is 1048 West Main Street. I thought you were up there, Lucy. I was like, you better get up there. It's all
My
right.
name is Mark Goebel. This is Lucy DeTillo. We live at 1048 West Main. Are here for the application for that particular bill.
All right, thank you. Brooke?
This currently is an empty lot zoned residential medium density. COA request is to build a new residential structure on the site of the former residence. These are floor plans that have been submitted showing the layout of the home. And these are drawings of the front and rear elevations. Another up-close drawing of the front elevation. Floor plans. And that is all I have.
All right. Would you guys like to add to anything Brooks brought up already?
Not right now.
Take the questions first, then. All right. Board, do you guys have any questions about this project?
I do.
Good.
So I didn't see anywhere in the application where the materials being used for the roof, the windows, the doors, and the siding, where that was detailed.
Do you want to speak to that?
Can you speak? Can you say your name and address? Sorry. if you're-
Herschel Bricktoe, and I'm gonna help him build that house. It's, the roof, the siding is, horizontal bevel, hardy board. The roof is the upper sections of the roof are architectural shingles with the kick out on the bottom, which is a Craftsman feature, is metal.
So they are metal then, or asphalt.
The ones on the upper elevations, if you look at the picture, you'll see that the lower part of the roof below the gables is metal. It's
Okay.
feature craftsman, and the upper parts are architectural composite shingles.
Windows?
The windows are why don't you tell them the windows, why you picked that style of window?
The style of
The
window.
style of window.
He wants to know what it's made
Oh,
of.
Yeah,
the
material.
windows?
Right,
Is-
material.
Is it
they're-
a-
They're,
So a couple of things, are they, double hung, 1/1,
They're
2/2?
as you can see, they're 4/1. It's a traditional craftsman,
4/1.
and they're Quaker windows.
I see mostly 2/1.
No, they're,
Is
Well,
that, is
there's
there
It's
line in there?
it looks like the line.
I have a colorized photo if
Yeah,
you
the
want to
back
see
is
one.
The back is 2/1, the front is 4/1.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
And the material they're made out of?
The vinyl,
Okay. And what about the doors, I guess, multiple doors, one in the front at least, one in the back?
the door is composite,
Composite?
yeah.
The back door is the original door to 1048 West Main.
Oh, okay.
We salvage
Historic.
materials from the old structure,
Yeah,
As much
so as much as we could. So we have the external, the old front door from our old home, we salvaged. We're going to have that as the rear door on the top level. We salvaged some of the old flooring from one of the rooms, so we're going to use that in the front foyer and the office area of the structure. And then we also salvaged some of the foundation stones because we had a significant old stone foundation that was 160 years old. So we salvaged that, and we're going to use that and incorporate that throughout the structure as well.
thank you.
Here also, they've decided to orient the house. It's not parallel to the street. It follows the other neighboring houses at a slight,
So the angle of your original home then?
It was angled. If you go to the west end, there is an alley all the way up. That's a West Third Street alley.
Yes.
And when you look at the diagrams of the plats, all of the lots at that end, from the railroad bridge on the west end, pretty much on west past our house, are angled in accordance with the relativity to the alley coming out to Main Street.
Yeah.
So there's like a 20 to 30 degree angle for pretty much every home, and we're going to keep this house at the same angle.
Any other questions from the board?
I have one. Are you going to access the garage from the right side of the house on that little, you can come from the alley or,
It's going to be accessed from the alley, yes.
okay. thank you.
So we don't typically like to see vinyl windows on the front of the structure. Have you considered using another type of window?
We have, but because of today's environment, due to COVID and availability of materials and the cost of materials, it's kind of cost prohibitive for us to do that. Our first thought was to, yes, try to keep it at a wooden, for wooden windows, but it was just cost prohibitive once we looked into
It was 4
it.
times as much as what the windows are that we're getting.
When you go from having 35 windows that you have to replace, that's a significant cost to occur. So we tried to do the best we could to keep it as relevant to the neighborhood and to the structure and do the best we could at that with the money we had.
I don't, do you by chance have a sample of that type of window that you're planning on using? Okay.
there are other, if you need, there are other houses that have been approved by the board or maybe previous boards come from the same company with the same quality, and I don't have them off the top of my head, but I could get those.
There is a house that was just right across from where we're living at now. We're in a rental property on 520 Mulberry, and there's a house directly across the street from us that has the exact same window as what we're going to use. Except it's just a basic 4/4, and we're going with the Craftsman look.
Please refresh my memory. What's your setback from the sidewalk?
It varies because of the angle.
Sure.
Because of the angle of the property, it'll vary from anywhere from probably 15 feet to 10 feet.
Okay. And you're kind of setting up too, aren't you?
We're up on that side, yeah, they're up on the hill, because down there, Main Street goes up about 10 or 12 feet up.
Okay.
But it's about the same
But it-
height as our previous
But it will,
one was.
yes, it'll be the exact same height as of this previous structure.
Okay.
We're not like raising it up at all. We're actually having it about the exact same height as the previous structure.
Okay. Well, it's beautiful design.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm very sorry for your loss of that. That must be very traumatic to you. Thank you for rebuilding.
And you got a good contractor there. He's got a good history with the,
That's what we
Fairfield
waited.
Any other questions? All right, any questions, concerns from the audience? All right, hearing none. Sandy, would you like to take us through findings of fact?
So when you're going through the new construction infill, new building will be compatible with adjacent buildings in terms of height, materials, setbacks, scale, proportions, meets that. In terms of roof form, it's that, in components. We talked about construction toward a major street, and it's consistent with the neighboring houses for that street. Garages built in rear, so it meets in conformance with those guidelines.
All right, Tom?
That's it. Is there-
Yeah. Well, yeah, because, we don't go through the materials any further than this because it's infill, right? Yeah. So, Tom?
I approve for the same reasons.
Well, yeah, okay, you agree with her for the same reasons?
Oh, yeah, I agree.
It's not approval.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm with you.
Mike?
you haven't been here in a while. We have coaches. I agree for the same reasons.
Carolyn?
As do I.
And I too agree for the same reasons. So that will entertain a motion.
I'll be glad to.
Okay.
Based on the preceding findings of fact, I move that the Madison Historic Board of Review grant a certificate of appropriateness to Lucy DiTillo for the proposed, let's see, how did they word it? I'm sorry. To build a new residential structure on the site of the former residence at 1048 West Main Street.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Brooke?
Josh Wilbur,
Approved.
Tom Stark,
Approve?
Sandy Palmer,
Approve.
Carol Ann Rogers,
Approve.
and Mike Pittman.
Approve.
All right. You guys will get your COA in the mail. You can begin construction as long as you got all the right building permits. and stuff.
Thank you very
No
much.
problem. Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, our next application is 947 West Second Street.
Good evening, I'm Brian Scheid, 947 West Second Street.
And I'm Brad Sweat, 947 West Second Street as well.
All right, thank you, guys. Brooke?
This structure is a circa 1840 federal contributing, it's zoned local business. The COA request is to extend the existing wooden fence to be, and I have 15 feet in height. It is a correction, it's 10 feet at the highest point.
Oh.
9 in others, in height on the west side of the rear yard. And I'll go over some other changes as we go through this as well. So this is a photograph of the wooden privacy fence from before. The process was to replace the fence prickets that had been deteriorated and to erect a privacy wall atop of that fence to limit visibility from a neighboring structure. to remove the back privacy fence line and replace with wrought iron fencing, and install a door with a faux transom as an entrance into the rear yard. This is another photo of the old fence that was there originally. This is a photo of the neighboring structure that the applicant is wishing to obstruct the view from. And then these are photos of during the process where the wrought iron fence has been installed on that rear property line. More photos of in-progress work. And here. And then this is a photo of the finished product. More photos of the fence. And on the other side. And that is all I have.
Would you like to add anything to that?
Yeah, so, we removed the pickets on the west side that separates 947 to 949 to what you're seeing currently right there. And when the contractors did it, they did make it higher than, not even higher than the original fence, but higher than what we were wanting. So we cut that down so the homeowner of 949 could access their gutters if need be. And then there's a little door to the right of that little blue ladder there, with the transom, and that actually will be taken down just a little bit as well. It's still a little high for our liking. And then the wrought iron fence obviously is there. And then on the opposite side is that privacy wall, because 945's deck comes out so they can see down over that fence line.
Okay. Love the wrought iron fence, just so you know. I think it's really pretty.
Yeah, we had it restored. It was in the rough shape.
Ironworks is phenomenal.
You say what?
Madison Ironworks is
Oh,
phenomenal.
yep. They've done some work for my fence as well, so. Any questions from the board on this project?
I have a question, just when you were talking the 9 and the 15, so as what we're looking at right there is,
So,
the height is what you're,
so the door is currently at 10 feet, and we're taking that down another 10 inches. The step down is 9, and then the majority of that line is at 8 feet. So if you see like that left side, that's 8, it jogs up to 9 to cover where the roof line of 949 goes up, and then it jogs up again where that door is, but again, that's coming down.
and the door was 10, so there's no 15?
Correct.
Okay, that's
Good.
5 feet difference.
Well, we found that out
It was
actually
my
just
math.
the other day, that it was 15 feet. I go, no,
No.
that's not correct.
Okay.
So you guys have already started, obviously, some of this work. Can you, I mean, usually the board's gonna ask you, why did you use some of the work before coming, so might as well.
Yeah, so the materials that we chose were already pre-approved from our previous COA, the
Okay.
smart siding on the back of the home. So we just kind of took it that we could use
Okay.
that material as well. And one of the reasons that we chose composite was we have a really bad problem with worker bees and with termites in that area. So we wanted something that was pretty much impervious, so we wouldn't have to be replacing that years
sense.
down the road.
Makes sense.
And we did make exceptions so that we had it lowered specifically so that the owner of 949 could be able to access his gutters. And we cut it back a little shorter than what it was so that there is a dryer vent that's coming right out so that it's not directly behind the fence
So if they
collecting.
Clean it
Right.
or
Yes,
something.
so we
Makes
tried to
sense.
be respectful of
Yeah.
that, but we tried to maintain what was there prior to us buying it. And just change the color, and the
Make
picket
it look
fence
more
was a little,
cohesive.
yeah, a little more cohesive with the neighborhood.
Yeah, I understand that. Other questions? Questions, concerns, comments from the audience?
Just to clarify,
Sorry.
just
Go
to
ahead, Cindy.
clarify. So the material that you're using in the fence, that was in your previous, when you originally
In
requested?
2019, correct.
Okay. And that's what, then you just went ahead?
The previous
Because-
fence was wood, but it was completely rotted and falling apart. So we had a COA for the back of the house, which is what you're seeing right there, which is an addition to the structure. And that was done in smart siding, composite smart siding with wood grain effect. We replaced the fence line picket with that material. So we wouldn't have to deal with deterioration issues, would-be issues, termite issues.
And thought that was part of the original CEO certificate, or
No.
no, just
The top part of the,
hoping for the best?
oh, I'm sorry, the top part of the fence, is that also composite material?
The
The flat top part?
The flat top part is open, so the only thing that you're seeing on the very end is, pressure-treated lumber
Gotcha.
for stability, and then it's open down back behind there.
Okay.
Sure. Okay, all right. All right, now any questions, comments from the audience? Looks like we got somebody. Likes to, oop.
Patrick Teveno, 106 East Third. I'm the property owner at 949
Okay.
West Second. I have some concerns about the height of the fence going up against my property. It's not in accordance with our historic guidelines, which restrict privacy fences to 6 feet in backyards. And while there are no zoning regulations regarding fences in a local business district, city ordinance states that whenever there's a conflict between regulations of zoning district and the historic zone, the more restrictive shall apply. So I would urge the board to require the fence to be 6 feet. It's just excessively tall. I initially saw the fence, their contractors had removed a section of gutter from my house in order to put it on. There's a pile of debris that's been former, I think, yard pavers that's been left piled up against my house. And I believe part of the plywood that covered up the crawl space has been removed, although I can't access it to see it anymore. There are 2 windows behind the fence, which are the only form of fire egress, exterior fire egress from the room that is there. I have some photos
If it's 6 foot, Patrick, would it still restrict you from accessing what you're talking about, though? Accessing?
It would, I'd have plenty of room for the gutters to work fine and everything.
Right.
It probably still would,
Because you said the
block
crawl space, you couldn't probably get in.
the
either.
crawl space, no, and I'll have to get with you guys to see if I can come over and try to work on that to make that better for everybody. With regards to the windows, if they're blocked up 6 feet, I still believe there'll be some visibility from them. So if there was a fire and somebody was in there, they could break the window and at least alert the fire department that there was somebody in that room.
In the yard debris, you believe that came from their work, or you think,
It's not from my
not from your
property.
house, okay?
Yeah. They look like paper bricks of some kind. So I would just urge the historic board to not set a precedent in allowing extremely high fences against property downtown. Just makes it difficult to maintain historic buildings when there are great big fences put up against them, and it goes against our ordinance. Thank you.
Thank you, Patrick.
Patrick, I got a question for you.
Yeah.
The fence that was there before was the same height, correct?
No, it was a standard picket fence.
No,
which I believe
I've got a
that's
picture of it. It was same height as this one.
Not, maybe in the back it was built up where they said it's 7 or 8 foot, but the front section, absolutely not. It was not. I'd like to see those photographs, but.
Sure.
No, that front section where it's really tall and where the transom is, there was never a fence that was that tall there.
I'm not sure it was,
But, and the old fence has been entirely removed, the posts and everything, so this is a new construction fence. They're not extending any existing fence, it's all new construction.
well, this is, I almost would call it a replacement rather than a new construction. I mean, he's not over the property line, is he?
It's
He's not over his property line, is he?
I don't believe so, but I'm for sure there, but regardless, it's out of compliance with city ordinance, and it makes a hardship, maintaining my house, maintaining the gutters on my house. And while I respect the need for privacy with the neighbors, I don't blame them for wanting privacy in their yard at all. we have our ordinances for a reason. And,
Mr. Teveno?
Yeah.
Can you walk between the fence and the house?
no, there's maybe, what would you guys say, like six inches?
encroached on the line. It takes up the full property.
It's, yeah, my house comes directly over.
I
to-
see.
They would walk beside the house, they would be walking on our property
You weren't able to get in there previously.
previously.
Gotcha.
So the previous fence was actually probably closer to the home.
Yeah, I mean, it's at least within the same boundary.
It was,
I mean,
same
Yeah.
difference.
so that's not the
Couldn't-
issue.
Yeah, I couldn't access the wall prior, and no, it's the height is the issue for me. The fence itself looks nice. I mean, I have no objections to how they built the fence. My only objection's with the height of it.
I'd like to point out also, I noticed, when looking at this application, that there's a discrepancy in, the guidelines. One place it says 6 feet, and one place it says 8 feet. So, when I looked at this, I took that into consideration.
Where does it say 8 feet in the guidelines?
Let's
I
see.
should have written that down. Brooke, do you have the,
I was
Guidelines
thinking
4 and
one was
11.
on residential, one was on commercial, but maybe one.
I don't remember that.
Guideline number 11, under fences and walls, states privacy fences should not exceed 6 feet in height in front yards, 3 feet.
Should have brought my computer.
Oh, here, I believe you're referring to where it says which traditionally could be as tall as 8 feet, wood board fences in backyards. Which traditionally they could be, however, guideline number 11 clearly states that they should not exceed 6 feet in height, which is what I'm asking the board to.
But they don't say must not. It says should not.
And if you notice in that photo right there, the tallest portion of that actually blocks the gutter. If you were to take that photo again, you would be able to see the guttering now. So you would be able to access it.
And if the back is accessible now, I'd be okay with that. However, the much higher front section continues to be an issue. The posts that support the fence are pushing into the gutters on my house. I had a hard time reinstalling them after it was removed during the construction. And I doubt I'll ever be able to fit a new gutter in, given the position of those posts.
So in essence, what you're saying is the people who have that house with your house, is it a rental?
Yes.
Okay, so if they're standing at their window looking out, they're gonna be this far from the wall? So they really never had a view, right? It's not like they're cutting off the view of those.
No, it's, and again, the view's not the issue.
Not
Yeah,
an
it's-
issue,
it's-
okay.
It's strictly the height
The
of the
height,
fence.
okay, thank you. All right,
Yeah, that's my biggest concern.
Thank you, Patrick. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, I'm gonna let them come back to the podium, but go ahead and state the public comment while we're in that period.
All right, the first is from Barbara Cat. She says, "I'm a resident slash homeowner at 918 West Second Street and have recently learned that my neighbors, Brian Scheid, sorry, and Brad Sweat have been the subjects of a complaint by Patrick Teveno and will be attending a meeting this evening to defend the replacement of a privacy fence on their property. I have not reviewed property records or plat maps or any other official record in this situation, but what I do have knowledge of is the absolute disregard for neighboring homeowners, presentation of property, safety, and peace of mind that Patrick Teveno has displayed since owning and renting the property at 949 West Second Street. Brian and Brad have done extensive renovations and improvements to their next-door property. Despite living next to known drug activity, tenants who have disrespected and trespassed on their property, and simple blight, plywood walls, and rotting exterior of Patrick's property. The fact that Patrick would take some sort of issue with their new and improved privacy fence having some sort of negative impact on his property is laughable. Several residents on our block have established a neighborhood watch group out of necessity stemming from past drug activity and Patrick's rental, eventually resulting in a police raid and multiple arrests. The improvements and renovations to Brad and Brian's home have been done professionally and with regard to historic preservation, while also improving the value of their home and surrounding properties. I sincerely hope that there is no intervention or order that would require them to remove their fence or any other improvements. If anything, perhaps the plywood exterior wall at 949 on the other side of this fence should be questioned. Thank you for taking the time to, she said, read my concerns and recognize my support of Brad and Brian's work. I know I speak for most everyone in the neighborhood when I say we value them as neighbors and the efforts they have made to improve our area. And then the second one I have is from Marcy Jones at 917 West 2nd Street. She states, I have lived in the 900 block of West 2nd Street for 42 years. I have seen our neighborhood go from a rough rental area to caring homeowners who work hard to improve their property and make this neighborhood their home. Brian and Brad have been wonderful neighbors and made great strides to improve their home and area around them. Their choices are tasteful and eye-appealing. I hope you can see the value in allowing them to proceed with their new fence. That's it.
Okay.
May I address those public comments before we move further?
Sure.
With regard to the first public comment, I will admit there have been problems with this rental property in the past. When my father purchased it, he purchased it maybe 15 years ago or so. And when you do rent a home, you're always going to take the risk of renting to somebody who's going to betray your trust and do something illegal on the property. A few years ago, we did have an issue with a tenant doing drugs on the property, and I evicted him as quickly as the courts would allow, given the process that I have to follow. Following his eviction, the interior of the home was completely redone. And a few years prior to that, the exterior was painted, and a significant amount of work was done to the front of the house to maintain its curb appeal and try to make it fit in well in the neighborhood. The current tenants I have there are some of the nicest people I've ever rented to. They clean the place spotlessly. It's a couple from northern Indiana, and they're working on getting their daughter into the home down here. So to speak poorly about this home based on past residences, I think is not fair. Because the current residents who have a long-term lease with me they've done great things with the property. It's decorated cute on the outside. It's well taken care of. No issues whatsoever with anybody living there. With regards to the comments about the plywood on the exterior wall, the fence that was removed was in place prior to my father originally purchasing the property, and we've never had access to be able to work on that. I wish I would have known you guys were planning on taking that down. I could have worked with you guys to make some improvements
We
to
should
that.
have also let us know you were gonna bring us before the COA also, just to let us know.
I didn't bring you guys,
no,
and I didn't
Let's not
bring you
get
guys,
into an
but this
argument.
is the way the city ordinance works. You're required to have a COA for this sort of fencing project. So I just alerted the city when I saw a 10-foot fence go up and the gutters being removed from my property. I didn't take kindly to the gutters being removed to my property. So. But anyways, I would just urge the historic board to consider enforcing the city ordinance that we do have that requires fences to be 6 feet. Thank you.
So the kind of some of the comments we have, obviously we have comments in support of your project. You got a comment in obviously not supporting it. The height of the fence, can you kind of speak to why you chose this height of fence over going 6 feet instead?
Again, it was replacement of what was there. So the original height of the fence at the tallest portion was 12 feet, and then it was 10 feet at the backside. So we've taken it down below that.
So if you go over this picture, is it the 12 feet on the far side as I'm looking there?
Yeah, so this is the 12-foot section right here, and then it jogs down to 10. So this guttering was never visible. This one was barely visible, so now this is at 9 feet, and then that is at
8.
So you've actually lowered it from
Lowered
the
it,
original.
correct.
And,
Except for, which you can't see in this photo, that door right there.
And that was an aesthetic choice that was chosen by our contractors, and we're gonna be correcting that actually, to bring it down about 10 inches. I just wanted to.
and that's your guys' door you're talking about.
Yeah.
Yes,
It was an old door that we found at Architectural Salvage in
Can you
Louisville.
go back?
Is that the one?
Brooke,
you
no?
want?
yes, and you
Yeah.
see there's a giant board, white wood going up, and that makes it elevated. They needed a buttress to be able to support a little bit of the wall. Part of the reason it was kind of falling down before, and I made the aesthetic choice to choose a piece of wrought iron that we got from the Architectural Salvage, took it to Madison Iron Works so that they could refinish it, and I wanted just something up there to give us a little light over that, but I wanted a definite privacy door, at least to go there, and that is a 100-year-old door that we got from Architectural Salvage that I refinished myself.
Wow. Can you go back, I think? Go one another one.
Yeah, so that's before we cut it down, that last photo.
Go another one. There was a picture I saw that right there. Whoops, go back. Yep, that one right there.
And as I said, we did not come before the COA because we viewed it actually as a replacement based on the bylaws of the manual that's there. And we thought using the same materials that we had for the house is what made it so that we could do it. Or we would have sought out
Those are,
big mea culpa, I guess.
okay.
Brooke, would you run through all the pictures that you had again?
Yes,
I mean, it's slowly, I'm just thinking.
I'm just gonna skip back to where
Yeah,
we
so if you get
started.
it, thank you.
All right, so, this one shows the two properties next to each other. That's a photo of the old fence.
The original one,
At the original height.
at the
Yeah.
original height.
That's before we bought the house, probably.
Yeah.
On
The
the
little
blue.
rectangle up there is the taller portion.
That's showing,
Yeah.
that's outlining that taller portion, correct?
This was a photo from Google Maps dated 2013. These are photos of 949.
The front, the side,
That's the side facade that runs between the homes, so that's the window that Patrick is referencing for egress, which according to the old fence, there wouldn't have been any egress out of that window anyway.
Right.
Or no view that was being obstructed. The bottom right picture, that's the support that the house is sitting on, which is currently a brick and some river rock. And then the top right picture is a plywood structure that acts as some sort of storage space for that property.
This photo is the in-progress photo showing the black iron fence has been installed, but it still shows that taller wooden privacy fence on the western property line.
This is, the
yeah.
start of that process. So you can see that the height of that fence is actually a little bit taller probably than where it was originally before we cut it down.
and that is
That's the
where you
gutter
have
inclusion.
the old door that you put in there is where that,
That fence
Gate.
that we had to put up for our dogs, yeah.
yeah.
And then we've actually removed that section of fencing that was ours too, between the structures that extends before that door, because it was in bad shape as well.
Was that section that extended toward there, was that the same height as the rest of the fence?
No, that was
No.
shorter.
That was the.
Yep, that was shorter.
What is that, about a 4-foot fence this way, north of the gate?
Yeah, about a 4-foot section, I would say about 6 feet in height.
Just curious, if Mr. Teveno wanted to repair that gutter, he'd have to be on your property to do it, wouldn't he?
He's,
The right along there is what I'm talking about. So you would still allow him access to get to that?
Absolutely.
He's, so he's cleaned out his gutters once since we've lived there, and he accessed the back of the house and was on the roof on their side, so he didn't come over to our property, but, I mean, we're all for keeping gutters clean, obviously, we don't want any sort of damage to the property. So if he, yeah, I mean, if he needs to access it, we'll gladly grant him access. The section that I think he's talking about that's infringing is that first 4x4 post. That's the only place where he can't technically like access a 4-inch piece of his gutter. That's the height of the fence prior to us cutting it down.
I'll say, yeah, that's prior to you going down.
Yeah,
if it's on-
yeah, because we both
was
agreed,
huge.
like, it's way too tall. You couldn't see that bottom portion of gutter in the back where it steps down, and you couldn't see the original portion. But we, if we would have kept it at the same height, we would have only removed 2 horizontal pickets
On the
on
very
the top
top one.
portion. But we took it, we took it down, sorry, we would have only removed 1 to keep it at the same height. We took it down 2, and then we removed 1 picket on the shorter portion.
Yeah, based on the picture I've got, the old picket fence was above the gutter too.
Exactly. So we allowed it so he could access that. Because again, we understand property maintenance is a integral part of owning a home.
Let's say he wants to work on his property back there. Are those panels removable?
Absolutely, you can just unscrew them.
Okay. So I mean, that wouldn't be an issue if he
Yeah,
had to do
if he
it.
wants to fix up his property, that's fine. We can number them and put them back up if
Perfect.
that's the issue at hand.
Okay.
Okay.
So that's the shorter fence after we cut it down.
Yeah, that's when you've cut it
Yeah.
already. And you said you're gonna still cut a little bit
the
more off the,
transom.
Yeah, that transom portion.
yes.
10 inches, right?
Yeah,
10 inches.
still have to leave a little bit of frame.
Yeah, as I said, they kind of made an aesthetic decision without us being there, and we kind of have to correct that.
Okay. We need to decide.
Any other questions from the board? Further questions from the audience before we go to findings of fact? All right, Tom, you want to take us through findings of fact?
Fences and walls on page 73. Historic pre-1960 fences and walls should be preserved and maintained. The construction of new fences or walls based upon historic designs and materials is also appropriate. Fences are typically constructed of wood, cast iron brick, stone, or woven wire. Number 4, wood fences may be located in the backyards which traditionally would be as tall as 8 feet. Flat tops, dog ear tops, pointed tops are all appropriate designs. Fences should be painted to blend with the building. I think you've definitely accomplished that one. It is 9 feet at its highest, but then 7 feet. Like I said earlier, we have the discrepancy between 6 and 8 feet. Split rail or horizontal rail, railroad tie, or timber fences may be located in rear yards, but should also be avoided on the fronts of houses. That's not really an issue. Privacy fences should not exceed 6 feet, 6 feet in height. Front yard codes require fences to be no more than 3 feet in height. Again, the discrepancy. I think that your project meets our guidelines. I think it is a huge improvement to the area, to the block, and I'm definitely in favor of it.
Mike?
I agree with Tom for the same reasons.
Carol Ann?
I agree with Tom.
Sandy?
I agree for the same reasons, and also adding that it was a replacement of a taller fence, which to me lends something to the issue.
You know, in our past, you know, usually if it's replacing a fence, replacing a window that was already there, that's when the consideration of the board goes more toward, okay, you're replacing what in kind, you know, what was there. It's a little different because the fence is like not this full fence all the way around as you think a traditional fence might go around. And so, you know, do think that this is one where, you know, it should not exceed 6 feet. I think most of the time, we probably should keep in, you know, within the guidelines, but the fence that was there certainly was higher. I think the photos show that the fence was higher. The unique situation with how your guys' houses are right so close. And it sounds like you guys have definitely put in some things to allow, you know, the other homeowner to access their gutters, access what they need to. If he wants to come to you and, you know, replace the plywood, it sounds like you could do that, you know, working together. So I think with that, may not fit necessarily within the exact guidelines, but it, you know, fits within what the board has approved in the past, so. So with that, I'll accept the motion.
Based on the preceding findings of fact, I move that the Madison Historic District Board of Review grant a certificate of appropriateness to Brian Scheid and Brad Sweat for the proposed new fence with the dimensions ranging from 7 feet tall to 9 feet tall on the western slope, constructed of wood and hardy board, and also removing 10 inches from the iron gate on the west side of the house, above the transom, right?
Do you have a second?
I'll second.
I forgot to, I wasn't
Oh,
quite done yet.
I'm sorry, I thought you were
I
done.
paused. Located at 947 West Second Street.
Okay.
We also need to address the wrought iron fence at the rear. If we can.
The wrought iron fence as well.
Did we even talk about the wrought iron fence other
Well,
than?
they just proposed it, so no one asked about questions about it.
Okay, no questions about it. And, so let me see, and removing 10 inches from the transom. In addition, approval for the 3 foot, 4 foot, it's 4 foot wrought iron. Yeah, 4 foot wrought iron fence on the southern, slope of their yard.
So the amendment's in place, you got it? All right, okay.
Can I second
Mike?
now?
Yeah, now you can.
Or is this the third? Is this the third?
Do you have a second?
Second.
Second.
I'll second.
All right, Brooke?
Josh Wilbur,
Approved.
Thomas Stark,
Approved?
Sandy Palmer,
Approve.
Carol Ann Rogers,
Approved.
and Mike Pittman.
Approved.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys. You'll get your COA in the mail.
Thank you, sir.
All right. The next application is 315 East Fourth Street. Good evening.
Miller, 619 West Second Street.
All right, Brooke?
This property is a circa 1860 federal. It is a contributing structure zoned historic district residential. The COA request is to remove the east wall and replace after building a new foundation, remove the rear addition and repair the foundation, rebuild the rear addition to a 2-story height, and remove 2 chimneys. It's a photo of that new proposed work. Left elevation. And the rear elevation. And that is all I have.
Melissa, would you like to add anything?
No, all I'm really doing is just repairing what is there, replacing. The east wall is going to be demoed and put a new wall put up, and then we're taking down a addition that was on the back. It's only one level, but we'd like to just raise it at the roof line up to a true 2-story all the way. We're not changing any dimensions as far as the foundation. We're going in the same footprint that is already there. So it's just basically allowing me to go up on the back level, to replace it and go up.
And why are you demoing the east wall? Just to make sure.
It's had severe water damage. It is structurally unsound.
Okay.
Yes.
Do we have pictures at all? Do you know? On this? I don't see any pictures. Okay.
The left, that left,
I gave them to Nicole with the,
Melissa, what materials are you gonna use on this?
I'd like to use, smart siding, but since there is a structure that I don't own that is next to it, I'm trying to be conducive, so I am gonna either do vinyl or smart siding. Hers is aluminum, so I'm trying to get smart siding that's about the same size as hers, so it looks cohesive.
So from this perspective, the lower one-story portion will stay the same, is that correct?
Correct, I don't own that. I
Okay.
only own this two-story.
So that's
Okay.
the
The other
aluminum
structure
siding.
is
Yeah, that's,
another
helps me
residence.
too.
Oh,
Yes.
I was so confused.
No, it's fine, it's fine. It's another residence, and she just bought it, and she's working on it additionally too. I'm trying to be cohesive to what she's doing, so it looks like we all had a plan. I'm gonna do shingled roof, which is currently what is there, and she has metal, but I'd like to stay with the shingled roof
Yeah.
if possible.
You got shingle now, right?
I do
So,
have
yeah,
shingle
yeah.
now, yes.
From the street, oh, I'm sorry, I'll wait.
Where's the second chimney? I guess I'm
Yeah, that was my
struggling with that.
One on each
It's-
side, I think.
Are there two chimneys?
I know of one chimney, there may
Okay.
be two, but I know that there's one chimney. I thought there was only one, but there may be. I really didn't pay attention to the chimneys, I'm sorry.
Brooke, do we have a picture of,
I'm getting that.
She's
Okay.
trying to.
It does say remove two chimneys.
Yeah, just say remove two chimneys.
There are two chimneys. There is a central stack and one that is a little further on the, towards the neighboring structure.
So obviously, I will need, zero lot lines for the new build. And I'm set to go above zoning to get that permission. I won't do anything until they agree, but, you know, we're on top of each other, I can't change that.
Yeah.
What's
Nobody
the
else would
condition of your interior wall there? Are you okay with, I mean, is that okay between the houses? I mean, you said the
It
east
seems
wall.
to be.
Okay.
However, it's been vacant for a while, and there's been gang activity and this, that, and the other. So it looked like someone tried to maybe do some drywall repair, so until I get in there, I don't really know, but it looks to be okay.
So a lot of times with these homes, I didn't get a chance to go down and look at this one. So a lot of times with these homes, the rear addition that they put on these are not the original.
Yeah, it's not, and it's not compliant.
Needs a lot
And
of love.
because it,
Okay.
yeah, because
So that's
it's,
usually what we find is they need a lot of work
Yeah.
because they're not, I would say, you're talking about hardy board or aluminum siding, just with the front of the house, I would go hardy board because it'd be
Yes. Mm-hmm.
more like your home that you have and it would look better with. And normally hardy board is something that
Yes.
the board's good with. So you want to take that back addition, basically you're taking the back addition down now, if it's there, rebuild
Just
something
raising it
up
up.
that is exactly with the footprint of what we're seeing here.
Exactly.
Okay.
Just, for value, if we're gonna be spending $70,000 to demo a wall and rebuild it, we might as well get a little square footage out of it too.
And you are gonna go, what kind of windows, were they 2/2 type windows on the back and,
Yeah, all the windows will be wooden. The structure doesn't have that many windows. We're
Yeah.
probably gonna do a wooden door front in the front. I just don't know about the area. It seems
Right.
a little transitional.
Right.
And then in the back, we're gonna have double doors, patio doors. They're gonna be wooden also.
okay, so you're going wooden windows, wooden doors, okay, yeah.
and what Josh was also asking, your bottom window is two panes
two
over
over
two
two, right.
panes, and then upstairs it's 1/1.
Right.
What's your plan when you replace them?
I will probably do 2 panes over 2 panes.
Okay.
It just looks a
It does
little bit
look-
more,
Yeah,
yeah,
look-
gives a little character.
yeah.
Yeah, that area needs so that's, basically an outside picture. And you can see the addition on the back, that's what we'll be getting rid of, replacing.
Okay.
You've got some and we're gonna be doing box gutters, we've got some significant exterior rot due to weather and, moisture. That's what the back
Oh,
looked,
my.
it had a tree growing
That's a
into it.
real good picture of it.
So we cut the tree down.
Yeah. I can see. Yeah, that was not great shape.
No, that's what's rotten in the
Yeah.
back of the house.
Thank you,
I think
Melissa, for
kinda
taking
went
us
through the
on.
floor, too.
Now, are you going to have to take the entire east wall down?
Yes,
Okay.
pretty much. Sandusky is taking pretty much the entire east wall down and taking off the back structure and replacing the whole thing.
And then, for your new foundation on that east side,
It'll be
are you
block.
planning to do block or brick or
Block.
rubble? Okay.
Okay.
Ms. Miller,
Yes.
you stated that you were going to replace the roof with shingles, and you already have shingles there, but in the COA, and when I did the drive-by, it appears to be a standing seam roof.
Okay, well, I'd
Um,
like to replace with shingles if
Yeah,
that's possible.
and I just wanted to clarify
Okay,
that, because
okay.
it's
Okay.
stated a little different here.
Okay.
I thought, yeah.
I thought it was a shingled roof, I apologize.
It's okay.
There was a staff COA issued for the shingle roof with the condition that it does not include removal of the chimneys. That would be up to the board.
Oh, okay.
And then there was also a staff approval for doors as well. So that should be in your packets.
And can you explain the purpose of removing the chimneys, just so we understand?
Just due to moisture damage, we're not going to use the chimneys.
Mhm.
They are allowing water and excess moisture to get into the structure. So we just want to knock them down if possible, just to alleviate another possible problem in the future.
Are there
So-
actually fireplaces?
No, none that it looks like there used to be.
Okay.
But they've kind of built them into the steps, and I haven't been able to get in there and just really tear it apart and see,
okay.
if it's just mechanics in there. But there are no working fireplaces,
Okay,
and there will not be.
okay.
So we normally don't like to see chimneys come down because they are a part of the historic fabric of your home.
Okay?
Is there any way that you could have them capped? The ones that I have in my house, if there's not an event coming out of them, they're capped. And
Yeah,
that way that
I could
prevents.
try to, we could try to cap them.
Okay.
Yeah,
And then if you-
I'm not opposed to that at
Okay.
all.
If you've got a good roofer, they'll be able to do a great
Okay,
job
sure.
flashing around the chimney to keep the moisture out.
Okay, we can cap them.
Okay. Any other questions from the board? All right, questions, concerns from the audience?
Ken McWilliams, 315 Poplar. Brooke, with the changes to the front elevation, would this still qualify as contributing? And I want the board to maybe ask Melissa if she can work on that.
Okay.
That's at the front elevation, right?
Do you mean the back elevation or the front?
That looks nothing like her home.
It looks nothing like her home.
Yeah.
No, I'm not changing anything. I just gave you a picture of like two windows and a window in the front and a door, so everything's pretty much gonna look the same. So I'm not changing any elevation.
Okay.
I don't understand why
Okay.
that's even an issue, except for in the back.
Would you go back to the home today, please, Brooke?
Yes.
So today you have two windows in the top, a door and no window to the alley that you had in that elevation drawing. And you have a 2/2 Italianate style skinny window left of the door. So is that what you're going to keep?
Yes.
Well, then that's fine. That's not what the drawings were saying.
Yeah, I was going kind of by what she was telling us and keeping
Yeah.
the exact same footprint all the way through.
Yeah, it is
So
gonna
I
look
was-
exactly the same. Same dimensions,
I-
same window, same door dimensions,
But-
on the front and also on the side. The only thing that's gonna change in the back is that it will be it will be two-story, and we will have a patio, a double door in the back.
So you have a double door in the back, that means you're gonna have a deck. I assume.
No, I doubt it, because there is a cellar access right there, and also the gas line is right there. So if I'm gonna do anything, I'm gonna do a deck maybe off to the side or at a
Okay.
later date.
So they'll just come out the patio into the grass? Off the
Or-
sliding, the double doors, you mean?
Just maybe a step
Okay,
I'm not doing grass, probably cement
Okay.
or some sort of paver or, yeah.
so really with this drawing, you would take the window, you would move the windows more to center with what your front looks like? And then the window down will be,
Yes, and the back, yes. In the kitchen, that will be a kitchen in the back. And then the two
Okay.
windows on the back side, they may be together, they may be separate. I haven't really drawn the proposed floor plan upstairs, but there will be two windows.
so, and the reason why I asked you about the decks, because again, based on the drawing, that looks like a deck.
Yes.
And that deck is not gonna exist.
No,
at this.
it's not going to exist.
So you're not asking for a deck, okay.
No, I'm not asking for a deck. Sorry.
No,
There were just
It-
pictures
'cause
that
it-
kind of
yeah,
looked
no,
similar.
I understand, but,
Yeah, yeah.
to Ken's point,
Sure.
that's, is a good point
Sure.
made, that just making sure that we're not approving your drawing, we're
Right.
approving what you're
Yes.
asking for, so.
And you cannot see the back from the street, and there's no alley that runs back there. So the neighbors are not gonna be able to see it. There's a 6-foot fence all the way around it.
Okay.
And you talking about 2/2 windows in the back as well?
Yes,
Okay.
I want it to be cohesive.
Other questions, comments from audience? All right, Mike, you want to take us through findings
Sure.
of fact on this?
Absolutely.
Thank you. We got 4 different areas.
I hope there's 4 slides. Demolition. I would say after reviewing this home, demolition is appropriate. I think you're very good there, Melissa. There's not an issue there. Have you explored any other possibilities for reuse of the property? And I would say at this point, it's all residential there anyway, so it's got to be residential. Okay, next slide. What's this one? Additions to the historic home should be located at the rear. Well, you've got this one will be at the rear, but you're gonna take the whole east side off because it's basically in very poor shape. Additions this will be a secondary. It it sounds like you're gonna make it exactly the same size, which I think for that style house, it would be all right. Additions should be of compatible design and keeping with the original, which you're keeping a lot of the original footprint and the size of the front, so I think that'll be good. Okay, additions should not imitate earlier historic homes. I think what you're doing by putting 2/2, you've got an Italianate window in the front. So that's a good pattern for what you're talking about, using wood windows and wood doors, so it's great that you're doing that. The recommended approach for additions is to reflect characteristics of the current period, and to avoid extensive removal. Now, you say you're gonna try to cap the chimney?
Yes.
And we certainly, wanna
I don't have a
commend
problem
you
with
for
that.
doing that. That would be something that would
Sure.
be very important. Okay, what's the next one there? Foundation, you said you're gonna use, basically, block foundation, so which is fine. It's probably better than I'm sure it's a rubble foundation underneath that one.
Yeah.
It's pretty rough. You and I seem to pick the same kind of foundations.
I'm not
But, no,
blessed.
that's fine. There really is no visible materials or detailing that would be on the foundation, so I think that'd be fine.
That's it.
That's it?
Okay.
Well, we talked about roof too. The roof, she said she's gonna do shingles.
I think that's what she got a staff approval for, right?
So she's
So,
okay
yeah,
with
we
that?
aren't considering
Okay.
that.
The hardy board siding, windows.
Well, she said smart siding,
Which is all
smart
part of the
siding and wood
infill.
windows.
So that should be all part of the infill part.
Yeah.
So you're good with the
I'm good
material
with it.
she's
She's
talked
good with
about?
all the materials. yeah.
Okay. Carol Ann,
I
do you
agree
agree,
with
do you
him.
agree with
I
him?
absolutely do.
It's Monday, I tell you.
It is.
Sandy?
I agree.
Tom?
I agree for the same reasons, and I just want to thank you for being very consistent with the overall look during your renovation. I think it's going to make a huge improvement.
And I agree for the same reasons, and I want to echo something that Mike kind of said, and I don't think anybody heard, but thank you for taking this project on. This is a home that a lot of people in the community would look at as a derelict home, one that's blight, and you're improving this structure, which is a huge deal for Madison, so thank you very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. With that, accept the motion.
I'll make a motion based on the preceding findings of fact. I move the Madison Historic District Board of Review grant a certificate of appropriateness to Melissa Lee Miller for 315 East Fourth Street. I get the address right this time? That's pretty good for me. To also include smart siding, wood windows and doors, 2/2 windows in the Italianate style that she's got on the front, the block foundation, the shingle roof, which she's already got approval for, and capping the chimney.
Do we have you already said the address, right?
Yep.
Okay, good. Okay. Do you have a second?
Second?
Brooke?
Mike Pittman,
Approve.
Carol Ann Rogers,
Approve?
Sandy Palmer,
Approve.
Thomas Stark,
Approve?
and Josh Wilbur.
Approved. So Melissa, you will get your COA in the mail. You can begin construction as long as you got all the proper building permits. So,
Okay.
thank you very much.
Thank you. Have a good
Appreciate it.
evening.
You too.
Thanks, Melissa.
All right, our next application is 313, 313 West Third Street.
Oops. Oh, I had them out of order.
Is that not it?
Carol's.
Nope, it's not 313.
It's not 313, that's what I got on
It's
my,
Walnut.
oh, I had on my,
601 Walnut.
my worksheet's out of order then.
Yeah, it is, sorry.
Okay.
Sorry, Melanie.
I was
Stay
using,
cool.
sorry. My fault. So 601 Walnut Street, I was using my, my worksheet instead, so. My fault.
Good evening, my name is Bill Jewell. My wife Nancy and I have bought 601 Walnut and would like a variance, I guess.
And where's your address? Where do you,
We live at 607 Walnut right
Okay.
now, and we'll be moving to this one here when it's
all
done.
right, thank you. Brooke?
This structure is a circa 1860 contributing Italianate. It is zoned Historic District Residential. The COA request is to replace 2 existing store windows to double-hung 96-inch by 76-inch aluminum-clad windows, 2 in each opening. You can see the building currently with the existing windows. It's those 2 larger windows on that front facade that flank either side of the entrance. And then you can see what the new windows, a drawing of what that would look like with the 2. And then these are examples of the window. And then photos from plans. I know that's a little hard to see in this photo, so I will go back to this if you would prefer, but that is all I have.
You have anything to add to that, Bill?
Probably not anything real major, other than it's, what we're trying to do here, honestly, is to try to bring this, the look of those 2 windows more in line with what the rest of the windows are. They're going to have, they're going to be 2 over 2 designs on it, it's a double hung window. The 2 over 2 is what we have in the rest of the masonry, well, I don't know my way there.
We've lost signal,
Rest
so.
of the masonry structure. It has 202 in it. There is an addition onto this building that goes off to the west that has chocolate block windows in. I think I've got a 9 over clear and a couple of 8 over 8s and that kind of thing. But the ones in the masonry part of the building are all 2 over 2s, except for one little bathroom window that's just an open one and has been that way. So we want to just bring it all together and make it look right and be a real shining example in the neighborhood, we hope.
And the material is
Aluminum clad.
aluminum clad, okay.
Black, white inside, and that'll be the final color for the windows anyway, is black.
Black.
We'll have
Black
white
outer
frames.
trim and then, yeah,
Right.
okay. All right. Questions, comments from the board?
I think it's great. That's a big corner.
Pardon?
That's a great corner for you to
Well, I
tackle,
hope
my
so.
friend.
We're real excited about it, to be honest with you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Jewell. That's been vacant for way too long, and it's good of you to take it on. Thank you.
We'll try to make it look good.
Questions, comments from the audience? All right, hearing none. Carol Ann? You won't have any PowerPoint to look at right now, but
Let's pretend I know
can
what
you
I'm
do
talking
findings of fact and yeah, pretend if you know something. Let's not say that on record then.
She's
So,
actually going to put it up there for me. She knows me. Well, it's fairly cut and dried to me. You're just asking for the windows anyway. So, are you going to pull it, or do you don't? Oh, wait, warming up?
there we go.
Oh, but I could read it.
And there you are.
Let's see. The windows should be, no, they're going to be replaced because they had such deterioration and even missing. So you're going to be the 2 over 2.
2 over 2, yeah,
2 sections of that, right, to expand all the way across that opening.
exactly. It'd be 2 windows mulled together for each opening.
They are going to be vinyl clad?
Aluminum clad.
Aluminum
clad,
clad,
yeah.
okay, good,
Black
thank you.
aluminum clad.
And, let's see, in kind, I'm sorry, I don't read real well from a distance. You all may be able to read that a whole lot better than I.
Want me to read it?
You read it.
Okay.
Thank you.
Windows should be repaired rather than replaced. If severe deterioration necessitates replacement, 80% of the original window is missing or deteriorated, new wood windows should be in kind to match the original design and materials. Baked enamel or anodized aluminum windows should be appropriate. Vinyl or vinyl clad wood windows should not be installed on the facade visible from the street. So, I mean, what you're doing is you're adding continuity to your building by going with the 2/2.
Yes.
So that definitely ticks that box. And you're using wood windows on the front and the side of the building that faces
Aluminum
the
clad.
street.
Aluminum
The
clad.
Aluminum
the
clad.
aluminum clad
Yeah.
wood, yeah.
So, I think that meets all of our requirements.
Caroline?
Good. And
I agree.
incidentally, all the rest of the windows and doors are being restored, especially the corner, the 45-degree angle doors, the doubles that used to be the grocery store doors, and the two big, about 9-foot side doors that were, I think, previously probably where they brought food into the old grocery store when it was there.
Well, how neat is that?
Yeah.
That's really cool. That'll be really nice when you're done with that.
Take me
It's-
and 3 people to get those off.
I bet so. I bet so. Been heavy. Sandy?
I agree, and also that the store windows weren't historic anyway.
Yeah.
That replacing with aluminum clad, we really like those.
Mike?
I agree for the same reason.
Yeah, I too agree for the same reasons. So, accept the motion?
You want to, I'll get it. Based on the preceding findings of fact, I move that the Madison Historic District Board of Review grant a certificate of appropriateness to William Jewell, located at 601 Walnut Street, for the proposed application to replace 2 existing store windows with double-hung 2/2 aluminum wood windows. And the original, I do have a question, 96076, is that the original of, or is that the new window?
96 by 76 is the dimensions we have now against the wood framing on the outside and the top. and
Gotcha,
bottom.
okay,
So it'll go in that spot.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's,
so with double-hung aluminum-clad windows, filling in each of the 2 openings.
do you have a second?
I'll second.
Brooke?
Josh Wilbur,
Approved?
Thomas Stark,
Approve?
Sandy Palmer,
Approve.
Carolyn Rogers,
Approve.
and Mike Pittman.
Approved.
You'll get your COA in the mail.
Thank
So,
you very much.
congratulations, thank you.
We'll try to make it look good.
You will, I'm sure of it. All right. Our next application is 223 West First Street.
This one has been withdrawn per applicant request.
Okay, all right. Now we're to 313.
Yep.
Here we go. 313 West Third Street.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I'm Melanie Harrell. This is J.R. Harrell, John. We're representing 313 West Third.
All right. Brooke?
This structure is a circa 1850 contributing Greek revival, zoned historic district residential. The garage that is in question is circa 1910. The request is to remove existing metal windows on the north side of the garage facing the rear of the home and replace them with double-hung vinyl windows. Build a 20-foot by 14-foot overhang roof on the north side of the garage closest to the west end, consisting of 3 6-inch by 6-inch wood posts and a black metal roof. This is the site plan showing where the proposed overhang will be oriented in reference to the rest of the property. A photo of the existing garage and windows. A photo of the proposed new vinyl windows. And that is all I have.
Would you like to add anything to that?
We're just hoping to improve the appearance there, obviously, of that area that's been kind of dilapidated for a while.
The alley goes behind the other side of this, right?
Yes.
Okay,
It's
And there's
behind
an
I
alley
felt
just
like I
to the
was-
left of it as
Is
well,
there
little
a
tiny.
side alley too?
Yes.
okay,
That's the
So-
only way you can see it.
okay, I was gonna say, because I'm thinking, man, I don't remember seeing,
I got
we're
my
going
golf cart
behind
now.
it, but I don't remember seeing it. Okay,
The metal looks great you added to the facade going around
Thank
it
you.
too. It
It-
really looks good.
It's what will also go around that area that's still plywood
Okay.
once approval is okay for the windows. That was
So that-
with the
that-
last approval.
It'll match
That's
this.
the wood on the east side of the structure, that will go around the windows?
The metal will.
Yeah.
We have
metal
around the top, and it's gonna match what's going around
Okay. The window opening size that you have there and what you're proposing are the same, is that correct?
Yes, I don't know if we'll actually have, because if you notice in that picture, 3 of the windows are the same
Wide,
size
yeah.
and 2
Right.
are small in
Yeah.
the middle. I don't know the purpose of that. So it will still be that same complete area, but however it fits in there with the right windows. Clearly, I don't
so you plan to
expect it
keep
have-
windows all the way across, you're not gonna,
Yeah.
you're still gonna,
No.
okay.
Yeah, that same area will be windows. I just don't know exactly if there'll be 3 the same and 2 small, or hopefully it'll all look uniform and we can get one size to run through the whole thing.
And so your overhang will have a metal roof to it. It'll be, barn style roof, as we call it, the fasteners with exposed fasteners, or assume is what you're asking for? Okay,
And it'll be the entire width of that
Correct.
space?
just that space
Where
right
the
there.
door and the windows
It'll
are.
start right above the wood on there. go
And it'll
up
slant
drop
down
about
some.
I think it's gonna drop 1 foot.
Okay,
And that'll just basically, like the brick that's under there will be relayed
Yeah, we're gonna
to make like a
reuse all
little
that
patio
brick.
oh,
area.
wow, yeah.
We'll have you
Nice.
down, it'll be nice.
You got yourself a project.
Careful what you think.
They've been doing all the wood stripping themselves. They already have a project.
That's what we're supposed to be doing tonight.
Any other questions?
Can I address the question of it being 20th century?
Sure.
Because it states that it's 20th century, and they may be original windows. But to me, for you to go to the work of putting the overhang on it, and probably you're gonna re-brick there, it's gonna be very attractive, I noticed, because you're doing the back of your house as well. And it's just, thank you for doing that, that's so pretty. But the only way you can see this is to go down the alley
Right.
on the east side. And so I don't know how many people go down that alley, but because of the aesthetics of it, it doesn't bother me a bit that those windows are maybe original to whenever the building was built. And I see no reason why you couldn't replace them with a better window looking exactly like that, and they'd all be the same. Because that kind of bothers me, even though we don't like to replace windows with something totally different. They need to fit that era. But to me, that era is, you have a block building there with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 windows and a door. And I think it would look much more attractive with having them all new, and because you're going to be constructing all the way around it anyway. And it's going to give you a nice place to sit in the summer. And we'll all be down.
For the cookout, that's right. So, any other
Wow.
questions, comments? Any questions, comments from the audience? All right, hearing none. Sandy, you want to take us through findings of fact?
If we have the system.
We got the system, that's right, you're
All
good.
New construction guidelines, addition should not imitate, we're talking about the porch addition. So with compliance for 4. Again, the additions reflect characteristic of the current period, avoid extensive removal. I think we're in conformance with all of those points. Windows, again, they're prominent building components. Historic windows should be retained, maintained, or if needed, repaired. The windows that are in there are probably questionably not too historic.
Very,
No.
they're not
Anyway,
historic.
and so I don't know that the 80% deteriorated is an issue. Normally, we don't like the vinyl windows, but this is on a rear addition that is not, it's at the rear of the house, it's gonna be covered with the roofing. So I think we're all right on the conformance on these issues. And again, the fourth, the metal windows of the 20th century building should be preserved and maintained, but I guess we're not in compliance with that one. Are there other issues?
You got anything else? Oh, there's nothing else to review, that's it. Yeah. Tom?
So, one question that wasn't asked, but I'm assuming that the metal windows have been bent and they're probably aluminum, I'm guessing.
Yes.
They are.
And I know over time, aluminum windows are very difficult. So I'm assuming they're not functional. Is that correct?
We can get a couple of them opened, but they're not helpful at all as far as preventing any kind of weather.
Yeah.
With the heat or the cold or anything. It's not gonna, provide any kind of barrier for the weather that's coming out. They remind me actually of like a window out of a camper, is what they look like.
They're very generic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
With that said, I agree for the same reasons.
Mike?
I agree for the same reasons.
Caroline?
I agree for the same reasons.
Yeah, I do agree for the same reasons. With that, we'll accept the motion.
As you, based on the preceding findings of fact, I move that the Madison Historic District Board of Review grant a certificate of appropriateness to John and Melanie Harrell for their proposed replacement windows at 313 West Third Street
Okay. We
and
have
the metal roofed
The
patio
infill.
extension.
So you and approve the infill as,
Approve the infill
Yeah.
as submitted in the
yeah, right?
application.
Is it, it's right? Okay, do we have a second?
Second.
Brooke?
Mike Pittman,
Approve?
Carol Ann Rogers,
Approve.
Sandy Palmer,
Approve.
Thomas Stark,
Approve?
and Josh Wilbur.
Approved. So you guys will get your COA in the mail. Thank you very much. You can begin construction as long as you got permits that you might need.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Have a good evening.
All right, our next application is 912 plus West First Street.
Hello, my name's Steve McHugh, 911 West Second Street.
All right, thank you, Steve. Brooke?
The primary structure is a circa 1860 contributing Italianate zoned historic district residential. But the COA request is to install a 10-foot by 12-foot accessory building in the rear yard. You can see these photographs showing that yard space. A site plan showing where that structure will be. And then an example of the proposed accessory building. And that is all I have.
Steve, would you like to add to that?
Nothing.
And,
I have a question.
yeah, go ahead.
No, could go back to the picture of the yard. So your backyard runs from
First Street to,
all the way to,
yes,
uh,
halfway up to Second Street, and then the house is on the other half. And that diagram kind of is distorted in dimensions.
Yeah.
Really, the accessory building would be oriented north and south. It kind of looked like east and west. But because of the lot dimensions and the 3-foot setback, it would have to run north and south.
So based on that picture there, how far back would your,
Pretty far back.
so back closer
With
to
that
where
foundation?
the tree is back there, kind of?
Equivalent to the back of the house on the left. So the
Okay.
front of the accessory building would be the back of the house next to it. Yeah, so pretty far back in that lot.
Okay.
This would be mainly for storage, is that correct, sir?
Yes, specifically my golf cart.
Specifically, And this will not be set on a foundation, this will be set right on the ground or rock
Yes.
or something? Okay.
Right, probably has 4x6 runners.
Mhm. Yes, they come with that.
So it's a
I don't mean
removable.
to be dense, I just need to, because I drove by there and I was trying to figure out where exactly this was. The house that you just showed in the beginning, can you go back to that?
That's the front of the house, you see the back of?
The pale yellow? is
Yeah,
that. Okay, so
right.
that's your home,
Yes,
which is facing
correct. That's
Second
the-
Street.
Yeah, that's the back side of it, facing First Street, and then the view you saw at the beginning was the north side facing Second.
Right, okay.
Yep.
Any other questions? Questions, comments from the audience?
Ken McWilliams, Poplar Street. Is it still in the guidelines that these buildings should be in the rear of the house? Because this looks like it's a straight path through the street.
Yeah, you know, if you look at it, it looks like it's at the rear of his house, but he's got property that goes right to the next street. So, you know, you could look at it from this street angle, obviously, and you would think it's in the front, right? I think it's a really unique situation, Ken. We don't see this downtown here very often. That's why I was a little confused, like Sandy, you know, but there's no alley. It looks like it's an extra property basically that's there that you have, that more than likely there could have been a building at one point in time there that, you know, has been taken down and now it's all yard.
Yeah,
Correct.
I don't know the history of it, but
Yeah,
that could be the case.
yeah.
And
So it's
is there a
very
driveway cut there?
No. I may have to request that or something for the golf cart. Otherwise, I'd have to zig down the sidewalk a bit and hit the next driveway.
When we're looking at this picture right here, or you're looking at that one, on the right side, would that building be in that space right there?
Steve, you want to
Or
come
is
up
it gonna be
like
further?
over
Yeah, if you
here
wanted
and
to
kind of
point to
show
the
her?
screen, that would be fine,
That
just,
might help.
because I can see, you know,
Adjoining property in neighbor place, and this is the other one, so this lot's associated with this house. Sees the
Okay.
neighbor property
And your building will be approximately where?
right here. Right in front of that stone.
in front of that stone.
So you'll be setting it back pretty far.
It's pretty far back, it's about 50 feet, I think, from the street to the end of this house, which is where the shed can start.
And then the face of the shed will be facing your house.
No, actually,
It'll be facing this
way, because
You want to enter
You
your
want
golf
to
cart.
access through it from First.
it'd be pretty difficult, really, to make that 90-degree corner, really kind of impossible to make otherwise, so it's kind of limited. That's actually fairly narrow, so with 3 feet set back over here,
Right.
don't have a lot of leeway. So I think it's equivalent to the east side of the accessory building would be about where that stub wall is like that.
Sarah, is this the picture, have you chosen this particular design?
Yeah, that's my intention.
Okay,
Yep, that style.
thank you.
Can you come all the way up?
Then I'd ask the board to work with Steve on not using a prefab building for this project and work with him in building a garage that would fit in with the neighborhood instead of a storage unit.
In fact, I was thinking about approaching the city later on at some point to see if a building could be built there, but I'm kind of concerned about all the setbacks and all that stuff. Maybe the thing will only be 10 feet wide in the end. But I think that's for a future endeavor. So I still want to have this request, but that is kind of a thought, and it's a pretty good thought, but I'm not sure to what extent I'd be able to do construction there, so.
I mean, yeah, setback wise, you're doing that, you know, usually 3 feet is the standard, you know, giving 3 feet setback, you know, from wherever you're working from, so.
Right.
Be relatively narrow, certainly a
Right.
narrow garage, right?
So at some point, if it's 10 feet wide, it becomes kind of questionable in terms of
Yeah.
liability.
unless you were able to get some, some exemptions on the
Okay,
setback.
all right.
You know,
think
depending on where your
that's-
property, of course, part of that's depending on where your property line is and all that type
Yep.
of stuff too, so.
I kind of appreciate that idea, because if you go down First Street, since, as you know, the lots are kind of continuous from First to Second, you see a lot of accessory buildings or garages or whatever along First Street. And so that theme could be continued here, but I think that's for a future request, once I understand what can be done there. So I'd want to make that request based on knowing what's acceptable.
Yeah, so as of now, you'd like to keep with what you're requesting?
Yes, sir.
All right. Other questions?
Is that all one continuous lot from First to Second?
I think it's actually parceled,
Two different parcels?
Yeah.
So you got a parcel on First Street and a parcel on Second Street?
yes,
But you own it all.
yes.
Any other questions?
I'm not gonna ask him.
Tell me, I'll ask.
Okay. Questions, comments from the audience still? All right, hearing none. Tom, you want to take us through findings of fact? This is kind of a tough one, but
Well,
Where historic buildings have been lost or where there are vacant lots, new construction is encouraged to add to the streetscape and promote economic development. Infill construction in Madison's residential areas should be compatible with adjacent buildings in scale, height, materials, orientation, shape, placement, and rhythm and proportion of the openings. Contemporary designs are encouraged, but replicas of historic designs may also be acceptable. And then, the first point, new buildings should be compatible with adjacent buildings in terms of height. I mean, it's a prefab building and it is not, compatible with the building on either side of it. New buildings should be compatible, with adjacent buildings in terms of materials. The materials are probably fine. New buildings should be compatible with adjacent buildings in terms of setback. Again, because this is such a tough situation, yours is way back there and all the other houses, are at the front. So I'm not sure that we meet that one either. New buildings should be compatible with adjacent buildings in terms of scale and proportion. We've already said that it is not. New buildings should be compatible with adjacent building in terms of roof form. I'd have to look at that picture again, but I don't think there's a problem with that. New construction should be oriented towards the major street. It is. New garages should be built at the rear of the dwelling or set well back on side elevations. And that's something I think you mentioned that, down the line, you would like to dig into and find out exactly what you should do.
Yes.
Overall, I don't think it meets our guidelines. From the street view looking, you would expect to see something of similar scale and proportion and size. And I totally understand, it's just such an awkward situation with you owning all the way to the next street. But I don't think it does meet our guidelines.
Then this section is about new construction, so I don't know if that, I guess that maybe is the only thing that's applicable to accessory buildings as
Yeah.
well.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's a
Yeah.
little-
With our guidelines, yeah. Mike?
This is a difficult one, because there's a tremendous number of accessory buildings that are exactly what you're trying to do
Yes,
down there. And, while it doesn't meet our guidelines, I understand what you're trying to do. So I guess I'm betwixt and between on this one. As far as the findings of facts go, I would say you don't meet those, but I think as far as your need, I would say you do need it, and there's a lot of them down there. And I would say, from my standpoint, I would disagree with Tom from the standpoint of it, it doesn't meet the guidelines, which I agree with, but there's a lot of them down there at some point, you're talking about building something there, and we'll let the city wrestle with that one, okay? But I think from my vantage point, I would say, it would be okay for you to do that.
Caroline?
I agree with Mike. Even though, did you actually say that you could maybe consider building something there?
Absolutely, I think I just need to understand what's allowed in terms of dimensions and that sort of thing. But I think it could follow along with how other people have garages facing First Street and a house facing Second Street. I think there's a kind of a theme there that can be continued, depending on what's we're able to consider building.
Well, I do agree with Mike in that it does resemble a lot of other small outbuildings that we have in the historic district, and there is a need for those because of the way our houses were built. We didn't have a lot of storage area or golf carts. So I will agree with Michael.
Sandy?
As everyone said, we're struggling with this. It doesn't meet our guidelines. Certainly, I understand the need for the construction, and if it were, closer to the back of your house, further away, I guess I would have to agree with Tom. I don't think it meets the guidelines, and I don't see how we can really approve a fabricated building on an empty lot, that's what you're gonna see there. It would be a great place for a carriage house closer to the road, but,
Yeah, although it is set back between the two buildings that are fairly close. In fact, the dimensions are, I think, 24 feet between the two adjoining buildings, so it's actually a fairly narrow strip.
It's all right, we'll,
Sorry about that.
it's all right. So, for me, we have struggled with accessory buildings as a board because our guidelines don't give us a lot of guidance when it comes to especially very temporary structures. This is not a permanent structure you're putting in, and that's where I have a little bit harder time. We've allowed these accessory structures to be put to the side of a home, not to the rear of homes, because people want them. Just recently, I can name 2 of them that's happened with downtown, where people can see it and they're closer to streets than what this is being put at. And so, we have struggled. I think the guidelines are very difficult in giving us the guidance toward that. And so, what he's trying to do is put this to the rear of his home. He just happens to have a rear of a home that also connects to another street, which is it's not your fault, you bought it, but not necessarily your fault. And so he wants to have some storage, and I think that, for us to not, allow that, although the guidelines, are not looking in his favor, due to the rarity of this, I would be more, to the accepting this, so. All right. Having said all that, do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion that, based on the proceedings, findings of fact, I move that the Madison Historic District grant a certificate of appropriateness to Steve McHugh at 912 plus West First Street for a storage building as per his application.
Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
Okay. Brooke?
Josh Wilbur,
Approved.
Thomas Stark,
Deny.
Sandy Palmer,
deny.
Carolyn Rogers,
Approved.
and Mike Pittman.
Approved.
So Steve, with that, you will get a COA in the mail. So it has been approved to go forward with. And just make sure I don't think is there building permits with this? It's temporary structure? You would need to look for?
Just
You
come
might-
in the office,
yeah.
we'll talk about it.
Yeah, you might need to talk to them just to make sure that you got that covered before you
Okay.
put it in. All right?
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Steve.
Thank you, sir. Thanks for coming before the board, too.
Yes.
Appreciate it. Glad it just didn't show up.
That's very true. All right, next application is 1128 West Second Street.
Hello,
Hello.
Barbara McPherson, and my husband is taking care of the hurricane down in Florida,
Ah,
so he cannot be here
goodness.
today, so.
Okay, Brooke?
This currently is an empty lot that is zoned Historic District Residential. The COA request is to build a new residential structure and install an accessory building / garage in the rear. This is the site plan showing where the house will be oriented and the dimensions as well as the garage. This is a drawing of the front elevation of the new structure. A floor plan. More renderings. It will be 18 by 60 is the dimension on the house. This is an example of the garage that they would like to install at the rear of the home. And that is all I have.
Barbara, would you like to add anything to that?
I would just like to make a home that will be handicap accessible and try to pay homage to the home that was there, that was tore down with the rock that they used. And I'm going to try to find out where that rock was taken to. So I would do T111 with the rock to look like the rock that was there originally on the front side of the house. What looks like a pencil, now that I'm looking at it, that is a crow's nest that would be added either by lifting it up or being built. Donald Ball is my architect, and because of the home only, or the lot, excuse me, only being 25 feet wide, we have put off closing until we get permission or whatever the term is for the setbacks. Otherwise, we can only have a 5-foot home width, but it could be 160 feet long. So, I did not spend the money to, I talked to Donald until we get past this step and then to the next step, and then he will have the drawings, if I need to come back, of course, to show you the drawings.
So your plan does include this crow's nest, or it doesn't include?
It does include the crow's
Does, okay,
nest.
that's
And
what I thought based on your.
Underneath the crow's nest is an open courtyard inside the home.
Oh,
So the crow's nest is, I'm really confused.
Okay.
The roof looks like it's slanting back down
Yes,
into the
sir.
building.
Because there will be about a 200, I haven't got exactly, but that will be a movie screen that comes down, because unfortunately, the disabled cannot get out and do a lot of things, so I want the home to reflect things that disabled people can do in their home.
So it's two-story?
No, sir.
Okay.
It would be approximately 16 feet on the right-hand side, then the roof would slope down. The courtyard would be 24 feet back into the home on the left side.
you can come up to the drawing, it might help
Yeah.
if you,
Yeah,
sorry. No, you're fine.
Okay, so there'll be a 4-foot, if we get the variance, if that's the correct one, over here, and then this will be 16 feet up, then it would go down to about a 10-foot ceiling. Over here would be the movie screen, that's why I had it high here. So, double doors, window, when you go through the house.
So the movie screen's on the inside.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Inside here, and then the courtyard, we would access it through the kitchen. And then the stairs would come up over here to be able to get to the crow's nest.
And that will be all open air?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
And this is cable.
Can I ask this, so if it's handicap accessible, how would someone that is in a wheelchair get up there?
That would not be accessible.
Okay,
Okay, the first floor would be set up completely accessible for handicap.
okay.
The
That
crow's
would
nest
not be, okay.
Gotcha.
Unless they decide to put a lift on somehow
A lift
later.
would be added, and
Yeah.
that would be definitely in the
Okay.
That the stairways would allow that.
Yeah.
And this
Okay.
is the front on so it's the 18 feet wide.
18 feet wide. And this would be 12 by 12, that's sat over top of the courtyard that's in the home. And the city road for the proper top, and I know 901 First Street, and over the cable, and that would be the cable.
That's interesting.
Is there, an overhang on the front part of your house, or is it sheer all the way up to the roof?
There would be a porch, an overhang off of front.
Okay.
It is a very modern design,
Is
very
that
much.
bad?
No, not bad. Just saying that's a very modern design. I'm not.
I guess I'm having trouble visualizing this.
Yeah.
I would say Mr. Ball could probably, once you get your variance, probably give us a lot more detail, because
Yeah.
we've used him before on some plans, and he does a very nice job. So I would,
Glass here.
I'm having a tough time
Mhm.
with this.
I understand.
Are there two windows, those little,
This would be a 6-foot window here,
6 foot wide?
6 foot wide, yes.
So it's a rectangular long window that's going in.
When you're sitting in a wheelchair, it's more difficult to lift a window than it would be to slide, and if that's, of course, if
Okay.
that's an issue, I understand that, it is easier to slide than to push up.
Understand.
But, if you have the other picture, unless you have,
It's all right. Go ahead.
this is the porch here, right here would be glass that goes across here, because there'll be no windows on this side of the home. And then I have, 3 8-foot windows on the west side of the
Yes.
home. That's correct.
Okay.
And point
It's-
to the slide that we.
Yeah, where's that
slide
sliding
Slide
window?
window,
Slide would be right here.
right there, okay.
And
Okay.
this would be slide, this would be over the sink, in the kitchen, and then the bedroom, there would be another 8-foot here, and then the window there, so slide.
And where's the courtyard?
The courtyard is in this section right here. It's actually 12 by 12. And to get to the, it'll be all concrete, stained concrete, and, transitional, being able to go from the kitchen into the courtyard, into the bedroom, or you can take the hallway down into the bathroom, which will have an open shower. You can just wheel in or come through the door here into the bedroom.
It's just definitely different. So that courtyard, weather can get into that courtyard area? How will that not affect the home itself? So will there be brick or something? That's gonna be a brick on the, okay. Okay. So when we look at your roof, so if I'm looking from the front of your house, your roof line is gonna go like this, right? And then at the back of the house, well, actually not the back, in the middle kind of the home, there's gonna be that crow's nest that's gonna be above this courtyard, right?
Yes.
Okay,
And the stairs will be, 3 feet wide, and it can have a chair if it needed to have a lift.
yeah, if they could add that in maybe.
I
Okay.
apologize, I've been so educated tonight, it's like, I am so embarrassed, I need to just leave.
No, don't do that. No. We appreciate you taking a project on it, just, for us, just wanting to understand what you're wanting to do. And material-wise, for siding and stuff, what are you looking,
I was, I had looked at a home, that had T111 done, because I want it to go vertical, because I'm looking for height.
mhm,
And then the stone, if I can find out from Ms. Hannah.
if you could get some of
where
that,
That stone
Yeah.
went when I tore the house down.
yeah. Okay,
And use it around the front, and, then the seating in the front off the porch, if you slid off of a wheelchair, or, if you had crutches, you would be able to sit along here instead of trying to get into a chair, you'd be able to sit along the front and see the river.
And so sorry, I keep probably asking a lot of questions. So the roofing material with that, what are you looking at roofing material wise?
I was looking at shingles for the house,
Okay.
but for the crow's nest, I would like
The tin roof with the copper
tin
top,
roof
right?
with the copper
Okay.
top.
And what about windows? What's the material of your windows?
Whatever you say.
Don't ask us.
I learned all those windows here. Whatever you tell me I can use.
You know, we've approved aluminum clad, of course, wood windows, you know, those are, you know, approved materials that we, you know, would like people to use, and guidelines wise would suggest to utilize those types of windows. You know, aluminum clad's probably cheaper than your full wood. You know, full wood is normally for historic district what most would want and desire. So really, we can't tell you what to put in. That's not correct of us to do. We have to, you know, accept whatever you're wanting to put in and then take that into consideration when we're doing an application. So you kind of have to tell us what it is that you want to,
Did you say aluminum tile?
yeah.
I think that's what, Rodney Pettit used in my 901
Okay.
First Street.
Yeah.
So if
So you'd
that
like
was
to use something
approved,
similar?
then
Okay.
that would be what I would use, because I understood from previous, it looked like wood is 4 times more expensive.
It can be, you know, in today's time, who knows? Because all material seems to be really, really expensive today.
So,
And your porch on the back, is it all wood? Are you gonna, you know,
porch is on the front.
oh, the front, my fault. I'm looking at this completely, then I've got it reversed the other way. Okay.
Bad as I am.
Is there any way that we could wait until we get further, more defined plans? I mean, I love the modern concept that you're using,
Yeah.
especially in that area. I think I need to see more
I
detail.
understand completely. If we get through November
Yeah.
11th,
That's your zoning? So you're going from the planning is it planning commission will go in front, or just zoning? BZA, okay, so,
and then, if that goes through,
yeah,
then we're closing the morning of the 12th.
okay.
Would you mind coming back then with, you know, more,
It would be a little later, because I don't know when I can get back up here.
sure.
Yeah. And yeah, I think it would for all of us to see kind of a better rendering of what's going on. You can have then your list of materials kind of set for us to be able to know exactly what we would be approving if we approve it. I like having I like it when people come in. It'd be nice, you know, that nice to have this process, but of course, you know, it delays things, and I understand that too. But seeing kind of the conceptual ideas of it and being able, for us to be able to start, you know, getting our minds wrapped around it, and then, you know, another meeting ahead, okay, yeah, this is where we're going. So this is really nice.
If I'd
to-
known now, after sitting back there, I would have thought, oh, I need to go in front of the other board first, and then come back with my drawings.
But no, you're fine. I think this helped us, wrap it right, because if you were coming back in another meeting, we'd probably still been, even though maybe having better renderings, whatever, would be helpful, this will help us when you come back to go, okay, we remember kind of more, so it'll be
Yeah.
easier.
It gives a good foundation for where your project's going.
I have another house that I'll be bringing to you.
Just keep going.
Well, you're gonna be a pro
we'll
by
get-
then.
I should have came, the last couple of months and just listened, and I was learned.
We'll give you some more addresses, don't worry about it. No.
I want to make sure I don't end up with a 5-foot.
You put a lot of work,
Yeah.
yeah.
To get approved.
You put a lot of work into what you've got up there so far.
Yes.
It does help us get started in thinking.
Got my crayon box out.
No, you're fine. No. And, you know, and I love, you know, the fact you're thinking of the ADA, you know, type things. And that's something that we don't get to see a lot of when, you know, people are thinking through these. So I think it's great. You know, it's just another demographic in Madison that's probably underserved. And, you know, here you are coming in and trying to do, so, you know, I applaud you for that. And, you know, thank you. But I mean, I think the board, you know, you guys would be considerate of allowing her to extend her application, possibly. What?
Absolutely.
Nothing, just my recommendation is since she's got a while month-wise before she'll have her plans ready,
Right.
is to ask her to just withdraw her application and refile it when she's ready.
Will we
So-
charge her to refile, though?
You can vote to waive it.
Okay, then that's what I would. No, I don't want you to have to pay again for it, no.
It's just what I've learned today, it's like, oh,
Okay, so,
I make the
so we
motion.
would need a motion on this, though, Nicole? Or is
Yeah,
this something that?
You can just,
or is this something-
probably word it such as, to ask the applicant to refile the application, with new plans and, agree to waive her application.
Now it'll need to be a motion.
Yes.
Okay. Mike, you want to?
Yeah, I move that we have the applicant refile our application for Thomas and Barbara McPherson at 1128 West Second Street, and we will waive the fee for the reapplication of our plans.
Do you have a second?
Second.
Josh Wilbur,
Approved.
Thomas Stark,
Approved.
Sandy Palmer,
Approved, thank you.
Carol Ann Rogers,
Approve?
and Mike Pittman.
Approve.
Barb, thank you so much. You appreciate your patience with us as well and the process. You know, we love what you're trying to do here, so, you know, look forward to seeing you again with the next version.
The grown-up version.
No, it was good. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Good luck with the hurricane.
Yes. We had the one at the beginning, right? So, do we have someone from 214 East Third Street? Oh,
Hello,
hi. What's your name and address, if you can tell us?
I can't hear.
Name and address? Can she hear me at all?
Mariella Axline, 214 East 3rd Street.
Okay, thank you. Brooke?
Oh,
So this application is for a home zone central business district. The COA request is to replace the existing upper floor octagonal window and wood infill with a vinyl window to match those installed on the rest of the home. You can see photos of the windows and the rest of the home. The center photo is the proposed new vinyl window, and on the right is the photo of what's currently installed in that opening now. And that is all I have.
well, so what's the problem?
We don't know that we have a problem yet.
I can't hear anything you guys are saying, so I'm just making up stuff.
No, it's all right. So let me ask this. So is it my understanding she's wanting to replace this octagon window with a new vinyl window just like that?
Yes, correct.
In that
If you look at the opening
Right.
where that octagonal window is placed now,
Yes.
it's basically someone has used wood infill, like plywood infill, and then put that.
Yeah, I'd say it looks like another window was there at some point in
Correct.
time
It
before.
was.
I just want to make sure
Yes.
I understand the
Yeah,
application.
I can
Yeah.
probably help us, her husband's, in Louisiana. Yeah, it's an whatever.
Octagonal.
Yeah.
Octagonal.
It's a vinyl window that's, wrapped in, plywood. I believe the third floor is a restroom, right? Bathroom?
No,
What is
no.
that space
just
for?
the loft upstairs on the
okay.
3rd floor.
Okay.
I believe it was probably I believe he said it was at one
What-
point a bathroom, but they're no longer using it
No,
that
when
way.
when we bought the house, they listed that as a bedroom. There is actually a bed over there, but there is a little octagon window. There's
That's
no
how they got
bathroom
away
up
with it.
there.
Yeah, but so they wanna fill in where the plywood and the
Okay.
current window is.
And there's vinyl windows elsewhere on the home. That's what I understand too, right?
Yes.
Currently or not?
Okay,
Ken has stated.
That's
Are
what
the
the
rest of your windows throughout your house, are they
yeah,
wood, vinyl?
when we bought the house, the upstairs windows are actually all vinyl.
Okay, okay.
And the little octagon window,
It's-
it's also
it's vinyl too,
But
yeah.
you can see on the outside, the shape of what used to be
Mm-hmm.
and how it should be, because they really look like
Right.
bad. It looks bad.
Yeah.
On the outside, and, this week or next week, the house is gonna get painted, so it's gonna have a nice color and everything, and this thing around the window is not brick, it is not, it's just something that they, add on so they can fit this
Little-
octagon window.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we would like to change that and put a real, it will look so much better
Okay.
also.
Right.
Okay.
And it's not on the front, it's on the side of the
On the
house.
side of the house, yeah.
So that's the only window you're changing. You're not changing the rest of it.
That's the only window on the application, yeah.
Okay.
Other questions from the board?
Yes. I've looked at that window 2 or 3 times, wondering about it, and to me, it's very obvious that the original window has been taken out with the putting the plywood around, and it wasn't painted properly originally when they put in that vinyl, or when they put in that glass. So the new window is up 25, 30, 35 feet, and from even, you can see it from the street easily.
Yeah.
But to me, it would be more important to let her put in a vinyl window there, a 6/6 vinyl window to match all the others, than to be, than to say, no, it has to be something other than vinyl. I think it would be aesthetically more important that it matches the other windows.
Okay.
It's just one window.
Okay. Any questions, comments from the audience? All right, hearing none. See, I think, Mike, it's your turn for findings factor.
I'll tell you what, you're working me to death.
I am. I'm making you earn your money tonight.
Windows, page 60 to 63. Original windows should be preserved. Well, we know this isn't an original window, so we can scratch that one. Windows should not be added on the primary facade, which we're not adding. Windows should be repaired, which is not what we're doing. We're basically going back to something that's gonna match the rest of the windows in the home. So I think findings of fact, you meet the findings of fact. At least those findings of fact.
Carol Ann,
I agree.
Sandy,
I agree. If they're vinyl, but the rest of the house they're going to match it. I agree.
Todd.
I agree for what Sandy said, so. yeah.
Guess-
I
guys
mean,
are about
just-
ready to fall asleep on me here.
No, I'm
feel like
not
I'm the
ready.
only one going to be awake or something. All right, I agree. We have, again, material in kind. There's already vinyl there. Putting a vinyl window in again. Plus, you are going to fill the space that was the original window space. I think that's important. So, that's something that we value. So I would agree as well. That I'll accept a motion.
Based on the preceding findings of fact, I move that the Madison Historic District Board of Review grant a certificate of appropriateness for Scott Axel Wine, I'm sorry, I didn't catch your first name. Axline,
Excellent.
to replace the octagon window with a more appropriate window that matches the rest of the vinyl windows in the home on the second floor.
At the address.
Oh, the address is 214 East Third.
Should,
3rd floor.
Third floor.
Mike, would you want to add that it's a 6/6 as she has proposed?
And it's a 6/6
Just-
as she proposed.
Okay.
Anything else I should say?
No, All right, is there a second? Thank you. Whew. All right, Brooke,
Did you get all that?
Josh Welper,
approved.
well, good. Tom Stark,
Approve.
Carol Ann Rogers,
Approve.
thank you. Mike Pittman,
Approve.
and Sandy Palmer.
Approved.
All right, okay. Well, we've moved on, I think, from that one. Okay, so now we are to new and old business. Do we have any new business tonight?
Do you want
No.
to do that part?
Is it, isn't it, what we have on there in the old business? The historic ordinance,
The district,
all
yeah,
the
we
survey
talked
update and all
about
that
it
type of stuff?
previously.
So, yeah. So, no new business, so we'll go to old business, and you're on, Nicole.
If you'll go ahead and open that link. So before you tonight, previously you had reviewed a draft of, our survey, final report. We received no public comments on it, so, we asked the team to move forward with, finalizing that. So we've received that final report as well as, this individual survey, sheets, and photos, as well as the public interface for the survey district. Tonight, we're asking for the recommendation for city council to adopt this survey as the official survey and map for the historic district, replacing the one that was completed in 1982. If you can go to the map view. So this is the interactive map.
Yeah.
So you can click on each individual icons and it will pull up the survey form as well as a photo. So if you just select one, Brooke. So this will be accessible to the public, assuming that you, as well as city council, adopts this as the official survey and map. So all the information has been updated. They try to integrate everything from the 2002 survey into this portal, and then they updated things as they found through on-site surveys. So all of our properties in the local historic district were photographed beginning probably November last year or so through about March this year.
Nicole, one question we might get, with this going public, and people seeing it, is their rank of their home, rating or rank.
Yes.
If someone wants to challenge that rating or rank that's been designated for it, how would they go about challenging it?
So there is a process outlined in the state historic code about changing your status for a historic district. We don't currently have that in our ordinance, but we would propose creating a subcommittee to review our ordinance tonight anyway, and we would look at adding that process if the committee so chooses. But as far as for this process goes, I guess they could bring it up now during public comment, and we could take it under consideration, as well as, since this is an ordinance amendment, city council will also have opportunity for public comments.
The reason why I ask is not necessarily even during maybe this process, but, we've seen, as some historians have started to really dig into our community, where we may not really understand the significance of a home until 5-10 years down the line, and we go, hey, the person who lived here back in 1880 was connected to the Underground Railroad. We don't, sometimes we just don't know that now, and things start to surface later as people research into it. So as that happens, that's what I'm, kind of concerned with, there being this process that you've now, sounds like that we need to probably look at with the ordinance. So for someone to be able to ask for a different designation or rating.
Yeah, since our historic district was set up under that enabling state code, we would still follow it even though it's not in our current ordinance, but it'd just be easier for the public to view it if it is.
Okay.
So with, I'll just give a highlight that was included in the final report. Our local historic district, there was 1,945 structures, objects, or sites cataloged. Of that, 134 were rated as significant, and 1,411 were rated as contributing. That leaves the remainder 400 rated as non-contributing. Since the 2002 survey, there were identified 68 buildings demolished, and there's about 83 objects, buildings, or sites different between the total number in the 2002 survey versus ours. I believe that those are accessory buildings that were incorporated into the primary structures, or duplexes that were combined. So we're not actually missing any structures. We tried to do as thorough job as we could to identify if any were missing, but based on that review, we don't believe there are. But people can use this site to search. There's, if you go just to the map icon at the top, you can look at there's different options as far as showing the little icons. So if you click through those, they'll change based on whatever category you have. So if you want to search, I used this when we were doing the historic guidelines, because there was a public comment that asked to add different styles, and the consultant's like, well, I can't make it back to Madison, can you send me examples? It's like, yes, I have brand new examples I can send you. So I just highlighted
There
which
you go.
ones he needed and sent them. So it's already been a great
great.
tool.
Yeah.
I know Brooks used it for a couple of different historic board items, as well as helping citizens. But it will all be accessible to the public. We already have access to it, so if for some reason you approve to demolish something, we can, as staff, go in and update it as needed. Of course, the official record with city council will be what they approve, assuming you send it forward. But hopefully they'll agree to let staff make changes as needed.
Well, I will tell you, I absolutely love this. I think this is exactly when we talked about this. Of course, I've been now on the board probably too long. And, you know, it's something that I think we've needed for so long. The interactive part of it, I think, is great. It really fits with new generation that is, you know, going to be coming in. They're living in this area and be able to be interactive with the map. I think that's important. You can pull it up on your phone, because I tried to do that, and it does work. A little bit clunky, but it works. But definitely getting on at your house, and if you're looking to buy a home, perfect, you know, application to utilize when you're going to purchase a home, to find out, well, is this contributing? Is it not? Is my realtor telling me all the right things? So I think for us, wonderful. The architectural styles are all there. I mean, this does a lot of good things for us. So I just want to say kudos, great job to the staff for really picking out, you know, a great company to work with us on this. I think they've done an excellent job in a really short period of time, because we didn't give them a whole lot of time when we did this. So, you know, nice job from my point of view. So you want us to, you know, go ahead and you talk further, or look to make a recommendation?
That's all I have, unless you have more questions. If
Go
you
ahead,
are
Tom.
planning to take a vote tonight, you will need to open it up for public comment.
Right, okay.
On the survey, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
correct,
Okay.
and the map.
Any questions?
So any questions from the board on this? Any questions, comments from the audience?
I do have a question. I mean, I guess it's unclear, Flint Ludington, 61 Mulberry Street. I guess it's unclear to me whether, sorry, have you not yet decided whether you're going to vote on this tonight, or allow more time to digest it before voting?
Well, I don't know. I'm going to ask the board after we get public comment, if they feel comfortable voting on.
Oh, okay.
Our vote would only be to recommend it to city council.
Okay,
And then it's up to city council then to decide that they're actually going to approve it.
okay, well, I guess the question, really the question is how the mechanism for making remaining corrections, and, how you're going to deal with updating and making, additional corrections
So
and changes.
that's what Nicole was saying, is that hopefully with our recommendation, we'll recommend the city council not only to go forward with it, but to allow staff to make changes as needed, whether that's demolitions, whether something's been noted wrong, the architectural style's wrong. Because if we don't allow that, then you're right, then it's a little tougher to go in and do anything if they don't have the right to go in and have that admin access to change it.
Because I did not see the link up, I guess you were saying that you were not going to release the link
Until it's, I think until,
The link has not yet been available,
Yeah.
but all the individual survey forms, as well as the executive summary and a final report, is currently available by the public.
Yeah.
We could release the link with a public records request, because everything in our
yeah,
office
so
is.
there you go, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
So you could
'Cause
get it that way,
I
Link.
mean,
if
I
we-
had a limited amount of opportunity to review the actual map, because I had been in direct contact with Lakota Group.
Yeah.
And they just sent it to me, but,
then when I learned that you were going ahead with the map and finalizing it, and I went back to try to complete the review, then it was gone, and they said that they no longer had control over it.
Yeah.
So the most recent version of the narrative portion that I was looking at just today, loading from the city website, it appears that some of the corrections had been made, others had not, and there is still some just factual content that needs to be corrected.
Yeah, and I think that's why I had my comment a little bit earlier too, just even with the ratings, if that's not quite right, how do we get that changed? Because there's gonna be some. I mean, it's not gonna be 100% perfect usually. You would like it to,
Well,
but unfortunately,
for
not as
example,
always.
some of the, like incorrect dating from past research and
Right.
surveys that I thought I had steered them onto more reliable sources, and that they were going to take care of that. And even some of the narrative content between some of the content in this did not seem to match up with the corrected version of the guidelines and those backgrounds. So
Yeah.
I just wasn't sure exactly how much Lakota Group was coordinating with Thomas and et cetera, but
Yeah.
but as long as there's going to be a continuing opportunity to correct mistakes
Mhm.
and set the record straight, that's my primary concern.
That's what I would want. That's personally what I would want.
And
So
that's what I was hoping. I think it was pretty much accomplished with the guidelines, although there were some, I was not present for the discussion about, decisions about how the guidelines comments or corrections were, some were accepted, some were rejected. But I at least thought that any of the content that appeared in the guidelines would then somehow carry over to the group, what Lakota Group was doing.
Yeah.
And evidently that didn't exactly happen, so I guess my personal personal preference is that you allow more time for the public to digest, not just the lists, but actually the interactive map content before actually making a vote to send it
Well,
on to.
if it goes in front, my understanding, because it has to go to city council, they have to have a reading, and then they would have to be up for public
Yeah.
comment for, is it 2 or 3 readings? 3 readings, so it should.
But there's only one opportunity for public comment. The
Okay.
First reading, it's
Yeah.
just presented, second reading is debate, and third, all it is
Yeah.
vote up.
And what I would ask for, what I would say is, obviously you're on record here asking for the link to be made available. It's something that, we can, or the city council should be taking up to allow the public to be
Yeah.
able to.
But I guess what I'm
Okay.
suggesting is that my personal preference, and I would hope that this board might be receptive to it, is it would be better to iron out as many of the bugs as possible at this level, in this context, rather than just send it on knowing that there are still significant problems, and then have that thrashed out by the city council. So, once again,
Yeah.
just a personal preference.
Okay.
If you have any questions, I'd be happy to
Yeah.
respond.
Thank you, Lynn.
I don't have any issues. We're not on, since this is 100% locally funded, it's not on a particular timetable.
Okay.
So we can, wait. I would clarify, we'd be asking, city council to approve the ratings and the map, not necessarily the content of the survey. So the dates, historical context, that kind of thing. They'd only be approving the ratings and, the map.
And so if we recommended this, with the ability of staff to be able to change any, aspect of the characteristics, dates, whatever it is, then that would allow all that to occur, right? Once the public was able to get the link and they say, hey, my home is actually 1820 and we have on there 1845.
Yes, I'll need to work with the city attorney to ensure that we can do that, since this is embedded in an ordinance. I think council would also agree, as long as we're not trying to change the rating, that staff would be able to do that. I'm gonna guess they would probably view this similar to rezoning applications, where the historic board would need to make the recommendation to change a rating of an individual site. I'm not sure that they'll give staff that.
But if it's not,
ability.
so rating might be more the coming in front of the board, but if it's a matter of what Link was talking about, characteristics of the home, year the home was built, those kinds of things wouldn't need to necessarily come in front of us. You could, as long as you had the facts that would back that up, you guys could change that, right?
Yes, Yes, that's the way the ordinance that I've drafted that was included in your packets is worded.
Yeah.
Is that we're asking them to approve the map, so we would give them a printout of, the map with the different ratings, icons, and then, the list of those properties with those specific ratings. Everything else would be up for, staff, I believe, to fix.
Okay. What's the board's thoughts on this? Do you feel like you have enough that you would be willing to do a motion and recommend this to city council? Or would you like to wait and have, another month for public to look at maybe the information and provide some more information to the staff to maybe get some things changed before we actually make that recommendation?
And we're talking just about the ordinance, or the survey. not the
Survey,
ordinance.
just a survey,
Okay.
just a survey.
Well, if we recommend it tonight, will the link be released then so people can get on and take a look?
Yeah, I'm happy, since it's available right now, I can put it on the website.
So public would be able to see it before city council even gets it yet, because city council would see, if we recommend it, city council meeting, the first time they would read it would be when?
The first reading would be, assuming I think I can still get it on the agenda,
The 11th, maybe?
would be on, yes, there are no, October 4th meeting,
Okay,
which is next week, with second reading October 18th.
okay. So what's your guys' thoughts then, knowing that?
The survey, I'm okay with moving forward, getting it to council.
Okay.
Me too.
Sandy?
I do too.
Okay.
I'm just, because I don't know that we'd have a process to get any other
Yeah,
comments.
well, I mean,
anymore.
to me, the link's gonna be, the
Exactly.
link, not, sorry, not link. The link to the site's gonna be released tonight, after tonight, because people can see it here, obviously public-wise, so they could actually enter that in and go there, but
And if we get information back from them, we can do
Then
something before it
staff.
goes to council.
as long as our recommendation, I think, includes the ability of staff to be able to have the, administrative control, right? Okay, so we'd have to have that in our recommendation to city council. You guys okay with that?
Yep.
All right, so would someone want to make a motion? And remember, you make a motion, we'll have a second, and then, when Brooke would go through her roll call, it would be recommend or do not recommend. It won't be approve, not approve. It's actually recommend or do not.
Just before that, I'd just ask if there's any other public comments.
Okay. Any other public comments on this? Okay. All right. So someone will make a motion?
I'll make the motion that the Historic District Survey be presented to City Council with recommendation from the Historic Board to allow the staff to make necessary administrative corrections and changes as needed.
Okay. Do we have a second?
Second,
Brooke?
Josh Wilbur,
Recommend.
Tom Stark,
recommend,
Sandy Palmer,
Recommend.
Carol Ann Rogers, and Mike Pittman.
Recommend.
All right. Okay. What's our, see, we got is there anything else on our old business?
And I just wanted to give you an update on, it's not on your agenda, but the design guidelines was before city council for second reading. At their last meeting, city council, did make, 2 amendments to the demolition section to add, back in, to, guidelines. And I don't have them before me, sorry, let me pull them up. They're in your current guidelines.
I know one had to do with the demolition by neglect.
Yes, Patrick made the recommendation to add in, 2 sections out of your existing demolition guidelines, section 2, which talked about, applicants for demolition should explore possibilities for selling or reusing historic homes. In section 3, or 4, demolition by neglect, occurs when a building is allowed to deteriorate, through lack of maintenance. It is a self-imposed hardship. So we added those back in, as they requested. Mike was there as a historic board member, didn't speak as if there were any issues. So they'll vote on their next meeting for approval.
Okay. Any other questions about the design guidelines? All right. Is there an update on the ordinance itself?
Brooke and I have drafted some amendments. Would like to ask the chair of the historic board to appoint 2 members to serve on a subcommittee to start the process to review those and work with us from a board side of things in order to make a full recommendation to the board.
So, given the request, are there 2 of our members that would like to serve as a subcommittee for this is for the actual city's ordinance. This is not the design guidelines, this is the ordinance that actually would supersede the guidelines that is legal. So this would be reviewing the draft ordinance that is in play, that they have in place to be looked at and provide some opinion and thoughts towards that. So,
I'll serve. Yeah, I'll serve. I'd be glad to.
okay, so Tom, you would like to
Thank you
serve?
for volunteering me.
Sandy said Tom will serve. So Sandy, you would like to,
Carol said I'm gonna serve, so.
Carol said Mike's gonna serve.
It's again, Mike, it's us.
Is
We're
it-
gonna get along better this time.
That's right.
Are you guys okay with the 2, with Tom and Mike? Sandy, are you okay? I think you want Tom.
How long have you got?
Okay, so I think Mike and Tom will be our 2.
Try not to take too much of your all's time, but Brooke will get with you both about trying to schedule our meeting. It will, of course, be open to the public, so that we're a transparent process.
Absolutely.
And Nicole, will we be focusing on the amendments that you 2 have made, or the entire ordinance?
It would be the entire ordinance.
Okay.
We've just taken a stab at it from a staff perspective, but of course, it's your all's ordinance, so any input is appreciated.
Okay,
Yeah.
great.
So you guys will you, are you gonna send them a draft of that ahead of time so they have time to look at before the meeting? Okay, thank you. And is it allowed to be sent to the entire board, and then the board can they send comments, or is that not transparent? Because,
Let me ask our attorney.
Yeah.
Because I'm not sure. I think that we can send it to everyone, but you can't send your comments back to
Okay.
the entire board.
so they can look at it, but they won't be able to, so Sandy
You
and
could
Carol,
send-
and you wouldn't be
Yeah, I
able to.
think you could send, the board members could send them their comments only to staff. I think
Okay.
that's allowed, but let me verify with our
Okay.
attorney.
Okay, and so if you do, just send an email with what we're allowed to do.
Yeah, if I'm allowed to do it that way, I'll probably just blind copy everyone, so that way, when you reply, it just goes to myself.
Okay, no problem, thank you. All right, is there any other old business?
The design guideline ordinance amendment, right?
I thought we,
That was passed with the last one. That's
Okay.
for the survey.
yeah.
Okay.
Yep. All right, so we're ready for staff approval?
Yes.
Approvals? Cool.
All right, so September fast tracks, we had Richard Cole at 742 Jefferson Street to replace existing modern standing seam metal and composite windows with aluminum clad wood windows. Brandon Taylor at 1306 West Second Street took the board's advice, and he asked to replace the vinyl siding that had been previously approved with hardy board. So John and Melanie Harrell at 313 West Third Street, replacing existing storm door with a new full view metal and glass storm door. Melissa Lee Miller, 315 East 4th Street, to replace existing wood and vinyl windows and standing seam roof with wood windows and shingle roofing. Jason and Kelly Daly at 912 West 2nd Street to replace existing vinyl siding with cement board siding. Melissa Lee Miller at 315 East 4th Street to replace existing non-historic wood and metal doors with fiberglass and steel doors. Steve McHugh at 912 Plus West 1st Street to install a wooden privacy fence in the rear/side yard. Tyler Mingione at 845 West Main Street to install vinyl signs in 3 storefront windows and 1 4-foot by 4-foot metal sign hung at a right angle. The September 2021 COA review, Jeff and Kim Kennard at 523 East 3rd Street to build a 2-car garage that has been done. Marcus Gray at 124 East Street to remove the front of the home and build a new structure attached to the existing rear of the home. That also has been done. Melissa and Todd Miller at 718 West 3rd Street to demo existing home and rebuild the new structure on the exact footprint. That is, the primary construction has been done. And that is all I have.
Any questions for Brooke? All right. I think with that, we are at the end of our meeting, so we have a motion to adjourn.
I'd like to make a motion to adjourn.
Second?
I'm
All right, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
So you guys volunteer us, you gotta do something. Come on.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.